Yeah, so differences between testing and debugging. So you might or may not have heard about this, but here it is. So debugging is a process used to identify causes of bugs, code, and correct them. And testing is the exploration of the system in order to find the defects. Each one on your role. So dynamic testing, where you go and use the system, the tester observe the failure and says, oh, look, I'm just reporting this incident. And the developer accepts the information, and then it goes following you steps to reproduce all the information that you captured and investigate and isolate the defect, fix the defect, check if it works. They have to do the check as well, and then report back and says, look, I fixed it. There you go. Can you just retest? Developers don't close the book. They pass it back to the tester to go and retest it again. And then once the tester is happy that, okay, so yeah, it seems like it has been fixed, and therefore it's no longer a bug, and then close the bug. Okay. The testing side is it's the part where you carry out the verification, validation of the system, make sure it's following the development life cycle best practices and rules that and it goes against the requirement as well, normally written using a user story. And the testing is just to ensure that intended software does not have any bugs or malfunction efficiently while handling all boundary cases and unusual conditions, as well as exceptional cases or rare events that you might find when you're using the system. Debugging, again, it's the part where the process of debugging software applications can be tedious and complex, and involves identifying, analyzing, and solving errors in every stage of the execution. So it goes step by step. So there are tools that can be used like Visual Studio. There are other IDEs out there, IntelliJ and many others. But in Visual Studio, you can set the code to go step by step until you find and you go back and until you pinpoint exactly why the failure is happening. There's a lot more about debugging. Debugging works by pinpoint bugs, then fixing them one bug at a time, and compare the expected results against actual outcomes to see if there's discrepancies or errors. Yeah, this point as well that I like. Debuggers often comes across impossible errors, which they cannot debug because they cannot be found even after intense troubleshooting efforts have been made. This is what like programmers and developers call the structural defects or design flaws. Sometimes you come across a bug that it only happens sometimes. We call intermittent issue, but yeah, we will save it, put in the backlog and observe. And when you come across again, then you get the team together to work on that one and see if it can reproduce that condition to pinpoint that issue. But again, we collect the information, we expose, but the debugging process is done by the developer. Okay.